Well, here I am. I'm back again for episode 2. I'd just like to say a quick thank you. Thank you for all your feedback. Your DMs are awesome, and we are getting some great comments from people. We're getting good listening figures, and I must admit, when I thought I'd do the first one, I thought I'll get the first one done, and there'll be no interest, no one will listen, no one will view, and it will just peter out. But everybody said to me, when's episode 2? So here I am. So even my family have been saying, come on, get on with it, get episode 2 done. So here I am, and yeah, let's get started. Let's just set the scene. I finally got my kids off to bed. I'm in my living room, no one else is here. I'm able to relax and give you the full time. So, my name is Streaky. Some of you may know me. If you do, please don't let on. I want to look after all the people in the story that know me, that don't know me, and move on. This is my story. I might offend people. If I do, I apologise. But welcome to the Streaky podcast. I'm not your average man. As I said before, there's lots of things about me that's a bit different. I'm maternal. I don't drink. Not that keen on football. Not keen on parties. I'm a freelancer, which is just unique in its own little way. So, and I think differently. Episode 2 is going to be about the moments after my interesting first marriage, should we say, the abusive marriage. So, and how I got out. Now, this story is my story, from my point of view, okay? It won't suit everybody. If you're in the same abusive relationship, maybe don't take this way. But hopefully I'll inspire you to try it and see what happens. But all I can say is I went my own unique way, and I am where I am now, and I'm happy. And I hope that's where everybody wants to be. Let's go to the beginning. 5 years into the marriage, I walk in from work. 6 o'clock on the dot, because if I was 10 minutes early or 10 minutes late, God, she would not be happy. And there she is, standing right in front of me, looking angry, more than usual. But my son runs down the stairs, runs past her, straight into my arms. That's why I come home. It's the only reason I come home. And she starts telling me, it's over. That's it. Give him to me. It's like trying to rip him out my arms. I wouldn't let him go. What's going on? I don't understand. Leave him. He's my son. Yeah, this is when she slapped me right across the face. I must admit, I retaliated. It was a light slap back, but that doesn't make it right. So, and I don't like what I did. And I wouldn't let him go. Next thing, she puts her arm past me and grabs the front door. And there's her mother and father. Now, her dad was a big police officer. He put his arm across the door and went, don't think about it, son, as his wife, mother-in-law at the time, grabbed my son and trotted up the road. My wife barged past me and out she went. And he's there with his arm across my door, telling me not to worry about it. Let her go, in his deep, limering voice. And then he dared to close my door and walk off. Now, I was a different person then. I sprinted up the road as they were getting into the car. And my boy was screaming for me. I could see him as they drove away out the back window. Oh, God, did I drop to my knees? Yeah, I'm not afraid to say I cried my eyes out. Not because she went, I didn't think at the time, but because of my son. He wanted me. I wanted him. Oh, I went back in my house. God, it was so quiet. Strangely, the first thing I'd done was start to clear up. Can you believe it? I don't understand why. But I had to get rid of all those newspapers and that on the sofa where her butt print still was, where she was in front of the TV. Then I noticed a big cardboard box. I was angry at this point. I just grabbed all her stuff, started chucking it in this big cardboard box in the middle of the kitchen. And then I rung my mum. Now, she didn't hear much from me much beforehand, but she was there for me. She always was there for me. And in that time, she just kept me calm. And she said, think about what you want, where you need to go, where you go from here. I slept like a log that night, strangely. It's the first time I had the whole double bed without a barrier of pillows down the middle. So it was a weird feeling. But it was my best time for thinking. Now I thought, all I want is my son back. I'm not losing him. I don't want to be that man that walks away. She called me, she texted me. Well, no, she didn't call me, take that away. She never called, she always texts. You need to change. She never said what, I don't understand that. So, 2 days, you need to change, over and over again. In the end, we met up at a local harvester to where her dad lived, because that's where they were staying. And she decided, on her terms, I've got to change, and then I'm coming back to you. And that night she came back with my son, which was great. She laughed, she thought it was hilarious when she came in and found all her stuff in a box. I said to her, you're going to have to put it away. I tested the waters with that one. I was nervous saying it. But she laughed and she started doing it. She wasn't happy about it. I thought, hang on a minute. My brain started to tick over. So, from that point forward, I started to think, I'm going to make things not as comfortable. I've made 5 years of saying everything she wanted. She wanted takeaways, which was most nights I'd go and get them. But now, if she wanted takeaways, I'd go get them still, but I might change mine to what I want. I might go and have a salad. Oh, that frustrated her. Or if I wanted to stay upstairs and not come and watch TV with her and watch those mind-numbing soaps, I didn't. 2 years it took. 2 years of that before she decided, I think we need to work on our marriage. I should have seen the signs beforehand. Really should have. There was a time before she took my son away and come back after 2 days when I opened the computer and found her Facebook open with messages to her friends about how she loves someone else and she wants to move in someone else. Before that, there was incidents when she had a diary. And in the open page, if you open the front cover, there was a picture of one of her old friends. And she had hearts around it. She'd show her friends. Oh, just things like that. So, lack of intimacy, lack of sex, the barrier down the bed, all this kind of stuff. The fact I done everything I could to try and make her happy, but it didn't work. But at that point, those 2 years, I tried to make things different. And after 2 years, like I said, she decided, we've got to go and work on our marriage. I said, okay, right, fair enough. What do you want to do? Right, we're going to go out for a meal together. Okay, fair enough. I said, I'll see if my mum can look after my son. Because my mum hadn't seen him for ages. And my mum and my son were like best mates. It was great. So any excuse for letting them see. Now, she weren't happy about it, but hey-ho. So we went to one of her fast food restaurant places, which was quite close to my mum. And I remember sitting at the table. We ordered a main course, no starters, which is unlike her because she always used to make sure all 3 courses, but only main course this time. The waitress came over, had a good chat with her. Of course, she was angry about that. I don't care. We moved on. I went, right, okay. After we'd ordered, right, okay, what do you want to talk about? And she said, I can still picture it now. I want a divorce. I threw my arms up in the air. I rocked back on the chair onto its two legs. I went, yes, as loud as I can. My God, half the restaurant looked at me. And I looked back at her and her face dropped. She went, what? That wasn't the reaction I was expecting. I said, you've been thinking like this for ages. So have I. I think this is both what we both want. I think it's a good idea. Do you know what? We sat there and ate that main course in silence after that. I had a smile from ear to ear. Now, I kind of knew who she was. When she says something, she doesn't change her mind. She's a little bit stubborn like that. So I knew her saying this, she's not going to change her mind from my reaction. So I didn't try to hide it or anything. Yeah, it was frosty in the car on the way back, but I didn't care. I was as high as a kite. When I got my son, told my mum, she had a big smile on her face. I said, I'll keep her in touch, I'll let you know. Now, for 2 years, trying to make these little changes just so it's not exactly what she wanted all the time, I'd never told anyone my intentions. Not even my mum, just in case it cocked up, it went the wrong way, it got back to her or something like that, or it didn't work out the way I want. Now, I didn't know it was going to take 2 years to get her to say divorce, but my God, it worked. And I was over the moon. We came home that night from the restaurant, and I went and got a pillow and a cover and put it on the sofa. She went, what are you doing? Come to bed. I said, no, we're over. We're finished. You want divorce? I'm sleeping down here from now on. But what about our son? I said, he'll have to get used to this. So I don't know how I suddenly had this strength. It was great. It was like liberation. It really was. So I slept on the sofa. She slept at the bed. My father actually bought me a futon at one point. I put down in the basement, and I lived down there. It was dank. It was horrible, but it was what it needs to be. After a little while, I started implementing. That doesn't sound good, but it was like, right, this weekend, me and my son are going out. I said, this is how it's going to be with divorce. I said, and then the next weekend, I said, I'm starting up my sport again. I'm going back. Haven't been for ages. So 3 years I hadn't played my sport, and that was the height of my sporting career as an amateur, and I'd missed them, and I wanted to go back. So every other weekend I went to that. What am I supposed to do? I said, it's your weekend. You've got to sort it out. I've got to go. So I put in those kind of things, and it started to work. My son understood. First couple of nights, he'd come down to me in the morning early. He'd jump on the sofa where I was sleeping, we'd snuggle up. He did ask questions. He was only 5, I think. But I still keep him informed and up to date. And it seemed to work. Don't get me wrong, it was hard work. It was hard. I did not like sleeping on the futon in the basement. Did not like having to let my son go every other weekend. But it had to happen that way. Because in the end, when divorce happens, you go your separate ways. And this is the way it could be. And I wasn't going to be just a weekend dad. I wanted shared parenting, and I'm going to push for that. So that meant I never missed a sports day. I never missed a parents' evening. We didn't go together. I got my own separate one. The school was quite happy with that. And I've done everything I can to be in my son's life and give exactly the same as she did. Even more if I could. So it was hard work. Don't get me wrong. My life was work and my son. That was it. So, but after 2 months, she was still acting the same. We still had the same shared bank account. She was still living in the house. She was still living as before. And she said to me, she said to me, I'm going to go and apply for benefits. I said, okay, you do whatever you need to do. We're not a couple no more. She didn't seem to understand this. So, but she applied for benefits. She went to the job centre. She done that. She got there, done it all. A couple of days later, I came home from work one day. Yeah, my son ran down the stairs into my arms. Great. Exactly what I love. So, and there she is in the corner, crying her eyes out. Yeah, still surrounded by newspapers and plates and all that, but crying her eyes out. I looked at her. I didn't want to really ask, but I did. I said, what's the matter? They're going to do me for fraud. Okay, was my answer back. Supposedly when she had applied for benefits, they'd done all the checks, and after a couple of days come back to find out that she still had a joint account with me, which was getting a certain amount of funds in every month. She had a mortgage with me, so she had all these benefits here, but she wanted job seekers. And they were not happy about it. That accelerated everything straight away. Wow. God, she signed herself off of my account, off of our account, so it came over to me. So I took all the debts. She signed herself off the mortgage, which was great. It was mine. So she wanted to argue about that, but we had the house valued, and the disrepair that it was in, it was actually negative equity, I think it's called, and it was less than the mortgage we had. So I said, that's fine. If you want to split it halfway, we'll sell the house, and then the debt left over, we'll split. No, she didn't want that, so she signed it off. I took the debt on, which I was happy about because it's bricks and mortar. It's the house we're living in. It's the house I was living in. So she got her benefits. She set up her own bank account, and she got a flat only up the road through housing benefit, but she didn't move into it. That's what gets me. She still stayed in the house. I couldn't get her out. I remember she was like, right, I'm going to go off to see my friends up north via her mother's house because she had an interest for the neighbour. But we don't go into all that now. So she went off to see her friends up north for a week. So I didn't care. I was quite happy. And she actually organised furniture to be delivered to her new flat while she's away. And she asked me to put it together. Don't understand this at all, really. We're splitting up. But do you know what? I've done it for her. I just put it all together. My son went with me. We sorted it out. Because I said to him, this is where you're going to be staying for half the time now. We're shared parenting, half time there, half time here. He was a bit sad about it, but he was able to build the furniture with me and put it together. And that helped. And when she came back, I offered to pick her up. So I picked her up. And then I took her to her flat. She went, what are we doing here? I said, well, you've got a flat now with all your furniture. You're moving in. Can I have my key for the house? So she gave me the key back. She was not happy. Son came back with me. I said, it's my time at the moment. I said, he'll be ready on Monday to come to you for a couple of days. And then I'll come and get him on Wednesday for a couple of days and then see whose weekend it is. So I knew she had made a copy of the key. She's not that silly. So I changed the locks as well. And of course, 3 days later, my son goes to see her, to stay with her. And I get a phone call that afternoon. You've had a locksmith round here. I don't think I have. I've done it myself, really. But yeah, you've had a locksmith round here. I can't get into the house to get my son's books. She had to pick that up quickly. I said, well, it's my house now. You've got your flat. I said, and I've got your key. So how have you got key? Oh, that doesn't matter. Fun and games as usual. So there you go. I said, it's fine. What I'll do is when I get home, I'll sort out the books you'd want for him. And then you can come around and get them. So, fun and games, silly things like that was always fun and games. It's like she didn't want me to go and take him to school either because her friends were other mothers there, but they were going to see quite a lot of me because I was at every sports day. There was a parents' evening. I was there. I would drop him off. I'd pick him up. I don't care if I'm the only dad there. So I am there for my son, and that's all that matters. So the one thing that did hit me when we got to this point was, God, how much solicitors cost? How much to get divorce? My God. But I tell you what, I'll get onto that in the next podcast because divorce in its own is its own special thing. But spousal maintenance, never heard of that before. That was a cracking one. I thought I'd looked after her all this time as a nice thing. Here you go. I'm working, earning all this money. You don't have to work. Live the life you want to live. I thought at the time, it sounds like I'm talking down, and I do apologise for that. But because I, in the eyes of the law, kept her, then she deserves money from me. And straight away, she applied for child maintenance as well. God, I gave her thousands. Do you know what, though? I decided it's what needs to be. I fought for it for a long time. We had an agreement through the consent order for a year. Went through that, and I had to give her thousands. But you know what? It gave me happiness, even though I was broke. And we moved on. We had shared parenting, which was a freaking awesome way to do it, because he had the same time with me as he did with her. So, and yeah, we moved on. There was lots of arguments we had still, because we're two different people that don't see eye to eye. So, and strangely, we had mediation. That was weird because it was actually in my son's school, would you believe? The family liaison lady was awesome. She was very good, straight down the middle. We had time to discuss things. So my ex-wife didn't agree with a lot I said, but we got somewhere in the end. And it worked on and off. But my God, yeah, spousal maintenance and child maintenance as well. I was paying her lots of money, but I thought, let's just be nice, carry on. After the year's consent, I was able to talk to the CSA, even though she didn't want me to. She wanted to negotiate. We talked to the CSA, and they sorted out my payments to be much lower, much lower than what it was, because they worked out I was doing half and half. And then another year later, I ended up talking to them again and saying, look, we got shared parenting. Why am I paying her money? And they said, you shouldn't be. Oh, wow. It's like a dam had broken. Bang, gone. Spousal maintenance was only for the year. So we were all equal again at that point. I'm not ever going to try and claim money back and all that kind of thing. It helped her set up. It helped her move on in life. It's what I hoped. Made her move forward. But it was hard. It was hard big time. But here I am now. I had the house. I had the car. So I had all the debts, admittedly. And I had my son, which was what I wanted. Now, I must admit, the way I went around things was not standard, shall we say. I can see where a lot of men will walk out, but I couldn't. When I knew, when I knew I wanted this to be finished, I could have walked away and I would have lost everything. I'm not just talking about the bricks and mortar and the physical things. I was happy to lose them. No, I wasn't happy to lose them. I'm not going to say that, actually. It sounds shallow because they're just things. But I wanted to keep them. It was my salary that paid for them kind of things. And the upkeep on them was my own DIY. And that's what I wanted to get. But my main thing was my son. I cannot be a weekend dad. I cannot lose him. I am not that way inclined. It would have killed me. I cannot move out. And luckily, got to the point where she asked for divorce and she moved out and things just fitted into line. So I wouldn't say it's the right way to go, but I really believe that mediation is a great way to go. And if you have these problems, you're in an abusive relationship, you must talk. I didn't. I end up shutting my family out. I kept it quiet when I wanted to leave. But I know for me, I have strong willpower and a lot of patience. And I knew my now ex-wife didn't. And I knew that she wanted elsewhere. And I wasn't sure what was keeping her here. So I knew one day she would say that she wants a divorce. Because she was always about the grass is greener on the other side. She wanted a different house, she wanted a different car, even though she didn't drive. She always wanted a different holiday. Wherever we went wasn't good enough, something else. So, if you're in that situation of abuse, talk to someone, please. If it's not your family, then there's always the Samaritans or even police officers and bits like that. So, I got out and I'm happy where I am now. Now, my next podcast, I'm going to talk to you about divorce, how divorce and the end of a relationship is not the end. Life still carries on. And we had some runnings in with her doing stuff to my property, stalking, I'd say, court dates, police, and we're going to get into all that in the next podcast. Now, I hope this episode, like the last one, helps somebody out. Us men, we need to talk more. So I'm really worried about the male suicide rate at the moment. And it has been for years because we don't talk. There are people out there that helps. And if what I've gone through helps you, then please go forward. I'm happy to get comments, good or bad, I don't mind. DMs, whatever. I can help you with my experiences only. Yes, it might not be the perfect solution, but I'm here to help. Please do message me. And I'm going to keep myself anonymous because I don't want to hurt people around me now, people around that were around me in the past. And I hope you can all understand that and be happy for me. Now, you can find us on Twitter. We're on Instagram and YouTube, which is the main place where I'm putting this. If we get enough interest, we might look into other places that you can get the podcast and try and branch out. And of course, if there's more interest, we might start getting these out a bit more because I know you guys have been waiting for a long time. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Especially the guys that are DMing me through Twitter. I'm loving Twitter at the moment. I'm having some good debates with people. And I'm getting some great DMs as well. So, but please, I'm not here to fight with anyone. I'm just here to debate and find people's views and hopefully help some people through the troubles they're having. And that's my main reason for doing this. So, I'm going to sign off. My name's Streaky. I'm not your average man. I'm 40. I've got 3 children. But that's about where it ends. I am a teetotaler. I'm a freelancer. I have gone through an abusive relationship. I've gone through a messy divorce. I've gone through murder, courts, police, a breakup of my extended family, and much, much more. But this is only my story. And if I offend anyone, I do apologise. But hopefully, I'll see you all for episode 3. Coming soon. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.